All right, well, welcome back to the electric GTM kit car that I'm building. This is going to be a video about some of the battery stuff. Dogs are playing around back there. But anyways, talking about battery stuff, the part of the problem with this particular build is there's a lot of batteries in a lot of space, or in a lot of small spaces that needs to happen. So just real quick, here's some of the aluminum sheets. Nothing's really changed on the chassis since the last update. So again, piles of aluminum pieces. It's kind of a mess right now, but kind of give you an idea of where we're at. A couple updates here on the chassis real quick. So I have a 3D printer. I've got, I think I left some of the parts inside, but I've actually started 3D printing some ductwork. So this is the DC to DC converter. It takes the high voltage DC from the, what they call the traction battery, converts it to 12 volt, 13 point whatever volts for the rest of the system. Anyways, it's air cooled, as you can see here. The idea is going to cut a hole in here, and I've got some ductwork with a couple like 80 millimeter fans, blow air through here. And then on the other side, I've got a duct, and this is one that I did 3D print that there'll be a hole cut there for the exhaust for this thing. So it's just one thing I was working on. There'll be some pictures tied to some of the posts and stuff of the 3D stuff. I'm still working on kind of the final design, so once I have that all completed, I'll show pictures and video of it, what it's going to truly look like when it's all said and done, but kind of give you the idea. Anyway, so that's that. And then, oh yeah, so one of the things we were talking about, the batteries. So there's a lot of kind of triangulated areas in this car that the batteries may not fit or aren't going to fit well. So what we've done is we've kind of moved the batteries into as small chunks as possible so that they can be fit into places like this little spot here that's behind the driver's seat. You can see like with kind of like the firewall here, that's for the passenger side. And that same little spot down underneath, one of the smaller batteries will go there. One of the next size up will go in this general vicinity, and then just in front of where the motor will go, which is right here, so this area right here, there will be the majority of the big batteries will be there. Trying to work on shoehorning some in here in the center console area, not inside the car, but once the once the aluminum panels are up, they'll technically be outside of the car. So we've kind of test fitted, and some of that stuff, it should fit in there. But to do so, we did have to modify them. So if you go back and look at some of the original videos, or the original video of me taking the volt batteries apart, you'll see that there were a total of 3 big battery modules. So here there's 2 sets of battery modules between all of this. There's essentially, this guy is one, this is another, that's its twin from the second battery pack, this is its twin from the other battery pack. And then all of these smaller ones, there's one there, 2 here, 2 over here, and this guy up here that I'm going to show you. All of those were broken down from the backmost portion of the volt pack. So anyways, I'm going to just walk through this real quick. Basically, these top plates, they appear, I don't know how the cells themselves are attached. It looks like they're actually attached by this top bit. These are live, so if you touch these or short them, you'll definitely get a shock. If you just touch one, obviously it won't, because there'll be no circuit. But so you want to leave those alone. And the way these things work is the lithium ion packs actually hang down from the top here. Let's see if I can pull this end plate off. And so here, we've got a lithium ion pack, and then the separator plate, and then another pack. And so every one of these is 2 lithium packs with a separator plate. Now the separator plate is only for cooling. So kind of had to learn how this works a little bit. It's kind of a weird setup. Cooling, when this thing is put together, there would be like an end plate here. So coolant passes through one side, then goes through this plate, and then the exit is on this side. So it doesn't make a loop through and around. There is no return on this side. All the coolant passes through this. This thing, when I originally looked at it, I just thought it was a stamped piece of metal, but it's a little bit more than that. If you see there, so this hole here is where this coolant line is going to go. And if you look closely, there's these tiny little holes all along this, and they pass through there, and then they follow this guy, and then it comes out the other side. So basically what I'm doing, the reason these are all taken apart, is to break these down into smaller sections and to reroute the hosing set up for it. So the way it comes from the factory, it's a lot of these long pieces, and to be cleaner and more compact, I've sourced a whole bunch that have these like right angle in comparison to this, just so the hoses run better. And because of the location of the batteries, each one's going to be kind of on its own branch of a tree, basically, of coolant. So this is going to have coolant in. This is just a stopper plate on the end. It doesn't loop around. And then coolant out. And so everything will go to basically some junction blocks that I plan on making. Haven't got quite that far yet, but that's kind of the general idea. So anyways, this is going to be one of the smallest packs, so give you an idea of what it looks like. These are the packs that we've done so far. So the packs are they're held together by these long threaded rods that you see here, and it runs all the way to the other end, and there's some nuts basically pressed into the other end plate. So where we could, we reuse those. The problem is on any of the shorter ones, the rods that we had are these guys here that are super long for the entire pack. Couldn't reuse those, so went out and got some all thread, and you can see I've replaced these guys here with just 1/4-20 all thread with some nuts on the ends. Along the top of the battery, was these big kind of clamp deals here. So they sat down and they went around this section to hold the top of the battery together. Had to take those apart, and these guys don't really make well for taking them apart and putting them back together. Plus they only make them in a couple sizes, so we couldn't. So came up with what was basically a consistent way to clamp all of these together on the top. And basically I took some 3/4 inch steel flat bar, cut it to size, I powder coated it, all thread, welded the nut on one end, and then threaded down the other. So everything's all clamped together. You can see here we've got temperature sensors in either end of some of these. I will be moving some of those around just for like a little bit better temperature reading. Some of the modules, because we took them apart, don't have the temperature sensor, so we'll move around to do that. And then that's it. So I should have the batteries set up. The rest of them I'll have done this week sometime. And then we'll be test fitting them and building some brackets to hold them in the car, hopefully this coming weekend. One other thing I want to talk about real quick, since I think I took some pictures, but I haven't taken video of it yet, but I have, for space and that sort of constraint, I've hung the largest portion of the body in the air here, so it's out of the way. You can walk underneath it. There's room to put stuff underneath it to store and that sort of thing. I apologize, I've got a mess here I didn't have a chance to really pick up yet. But anyways, just talk about this real quick. Real simple, straightforward. I went on Amazon, bought a little, I think it's a 1,000-pound winch or something like that. Some 3/4 inch rope and some pulleys just to kind of secure it up out of the way. And as you can see, it's up there and it's pretty stable. It's not really going anywhere. The good news is it doesn't weigh a whole lot, maybe 150 pounds or so probably. Oh, one other thing, just to make sure I get this in the video, I did pick up a set of scales. So this is my set of scales. The company that makes them, it's called Proform. They were on the less expensive side, but they seem to work just fine as it sits right this second. So I've got the rack installed in the car, and just a few small, like, lightweight aluminum pieces. The frame weighed 365 pounds, which is pretty light. So what I'll be doing is kind of keeping track of that throughout the build process, just so I have an idea. The overall goal is to keep this thing hopefully 2,500, 2,600 pounds. Seems like a long way to go when we've only got maybe 500 pounds so far between the, the frame and the body. Of course, being fiberglass, pretty light. But remember, I do have a 300-pound electric motor, as well as what started out to be a little over 800 pounds worth of batteries. So we've got 1,100 pounds worth of just electric stuff, not counting the DC converter and the charger and that sort of thing. So anyways, it'll be interesting to see where we're at when it's all said and done. I will be trying to get some weight measurements along the way. And that's about it. That's what I've got for this week, this week's update. If you want to follow along, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then you can follow me on the Facebook and Instagram or Twitter, Electric GTM. Just search for that on any of those platforms and you will find it.